good morning. It's day 6 of our Northwest England motorhome tour, and we're still at the Southport Caravan and Motorhome Club site. We're just getting ready and packing up. There's a little procedure that we follow so that we don't miss anything. We are pretty much ready to go. I was just going to show you the route on a travel day and what we do, some of the things that we do on a travel day. I'm sitting in the passenger seat and in the cab here. Fiat Ducato, the usual arrangement here. Sue's just bringing me a fresh water, and I got her notepad with various notes of the journey, and I have this little gadget here which folds out from the dashboard. I've just pulled the blind slightly because it's bright and sunny outside, but as you can see I've attached my iPad in here, which is really good. It's an iPad that does have connectivity to a telephone network, so I'm able to use that on Google Maps and have updates, immediate updates as we drive along. I've already set the map up from Southport here to Burrs Country Park, which is our next destination. I'm going to click on start, and that should give us...
Continue on Esplanade for 1/4 of a mile.
There we go. And it's your usual sat-nav arrangement, really.
This route avoids a road closure on Marine Drive. You are on the fastest route. You will arrive at 11:13.
And it's given us some guidance as to a road closure and an approximate arrival time. Usual stuff, you might say. It's really helpful. Google Maps hasn't let us down. We tend to use a paper map as well, which I also have in the door pocket down here, as you can see, and we have that already on the correct page, so that if there's any doubt we can grab that. And the next step is to think about hitching up Ethel, our little car, and we have quite a good bit of room around our pitch here, so I thought this may be an ideal time to film that. And so let's step outside and have a quick look at what we've got. Now, out the back of the motorhome now, and first thing I always do is to remove the cap from the tow hitch. Otherwise I'll lose it. I'm bound to lose it. I've lost dozens in the past. You helping me, Oscar? Now, we keep all our towing equipment in the boot of the car at all times. It's quite a compact A-frame from towaframe.com. Just going to open up the boot now. And you'll see we're nice and tidy in here. Somebody's been and tidied it up. This sign here needs to be fitted in the back window. We'll do that in just a moment. And also, Sue said she'd changed the number plate over, which is a simple clip in and clip out arrangement. So this is now the number that's on the motorhome. So in the boot here I've got a bag which came with the kit. Underneath this blanket here, I'll just lift that out onto the ground and show you what we've got. First job is to put the cap from the tow hitch into the bag so we don't lose it. If I unzip the main part of the bag, you see my gloves. I tend to use the rubber gloves just purely so I don't get my hands greasy. Your tow hitches typically get greasy. However hard you try, they always get grubby and dirty. So I'll just pop my gloves on. With gloves on, forgetting it's much more difficult to operate a camera with rubber gloves on. We have in the bag the main A-frame hitch, which is this part, an electrical connector which goes from the car to the motorhome, and 2 A-frame connectors that screw into the front infrastructure of the car. And then I've got a small bag here with some extra D-clips. I'll show you what they are in a moment, and grommets. Again, I'll show you that at the front of the car. Now, the first rule I have is failing to plan is planning to fail. So always have a look at the site, have a look at what spaces are around you, and we are so lucky on this particular site because the roads are nice and wide, the approach is nice and clear, and the pitch is a really good size. So we've got no problem with space, and I know that if I park the motorhome on the angle, that other cars are going to still get past, with even if they're hitched up with the caravan, they'll still get past. So I've got no pressure and no stress at all hitching up at this particular site. Hence I thought I would take a little more time and film it for you. So let's move the van into position. We're going to get it out on the road off the pitch and start the process. Okay, so I've moved the van off the pitch now, and I'm just going to put Ethel right in the corner of the pitch as I would in a normal situation. Let's do that now. So what I've done there, I've angled Ethel in the corner of the pitch, and I'm now going to bring Bertie close up to Ethel, and then we can start with the A-frame. So let's bring him over. So now I'm back almost onto the pitch with the van and Ethel, and Sue is here now to help me. I'm going to ask Sue to hold the camera and point it at me while we do the next stage. Okay? The first job is to remove the towing eye cover. Most cars have these. This one's fairly obvious. It's a nice round thing. So we lean on it a bit, give it a tug, and out it pops, and it should dangle there all the journey. There is another one on the other side, another hole that's been made for the towing A-frame, and that just has a grommet in, which I've just put to the side.
Oh dear.
I'll get that out in a moment. But that reveals the other towing position. I've got two of these. I showed you just now. I'm going to screw them in. And then this one. Okay, we'll now move on to the A-frame itself. These little D-rings are what hold it all together, and I'm going to take these two out at the end here and just lay them on the bag, and then I can tip the A-frame up and extend it, and then pop the D-rings back in. That's extended the A-frame to its full length, and in the bag I have a couple more. And I'm going to attach one side of the A-frame to the car with a D-ring. So. And the second one in the same way. We've now got the A-frame attached to the car, and it's all ready to attach to the motorhome. And the way I find it easier is to now get in the car, and Sue will hold this whilst I just move the car forward slightly using the engine, because we're on gravel, and we'll drop the hitch onto the 50mm towing board.
Come forward. That's done.
So the hitch is secure and clipped in there. The next job is to attach the electrics. Now this works exactly the same way as a caravan, but it's a separate piece with a plug on each end. And they push in, 13 pin, they push in and turn. And now we plug this one into the motorhome in the same way.
Can't really see to film that. Okay.
And to prevent the cable from dangling low, I usually just tuck the cable into the D-ring like so, and that gives it some support. Not stretching it too much because you have got the turning of the vehicles to allow for it. The final piece of connection is the safety
Cable,
chain.
which is in one of the front pockets.
And that acts as a braking system. If the A-frame does come attached, it pulls a switch underneath the car and pulls the brakes on the car automatically. The car is braked individually from the motorhome, so if I put my brakes on the motorhome, electrical signal is sent to the car and the car brakes come on with the pneumatics. That's all part of the conversion for the A-frame itself. So I'll fit this now.
Put that on there.
This end goes onto the motorhome in the usual way, the same as a caravan. And this end goes on a little tag underneath the valance of the car, which you may not see on camera. It's tucked away, but I'm going to put that on there. And the same and the same issue is, so it doesn't dangle, tuck it underneath the D-clip like so.
Do you need to mention all the things that you've got to do inside the car?
I'm now going to do that.
Oh, okay.
I'm now going to show you what we do inside the car to make sure the car and the motorhome can work together while we're driving along. So there's a few features that we need to look at when preparing to tow. As you'll know, most modern cars now, I step inside the car, most modern cars have a steering lock which automatically comes on when you withdraw the ignition key. Keyless cars have a slightly different arrangement, but the steering lock does come on when you're parked, so that may vary from car to car. This is a Skoda Citigo and the ignition key is in the usual place down here, and what we have to make sure is that it's not, the ignition's not on, but it is turned to the off position, but the key is not withdrawn. If you withdraw the key, you then lock the steering. We want that to remain free so that the wheels will turn when the motorhome is towing it. I'm going to remove my sat-nav and store that away, and the only other thing I have to make sure is that the handbrake here is in the off position, so the wheels are now free to turn. And I have a little magic box down here which is part of the pneumatic system, part of the A-frame conversion, which I have to switch into the on position. That will now accept a signal from the motorhome which will engage the brakes should I put the brakes on in the motorhome. And the electrics and all of the components associated with that are completely integral part of the car now. Again, as I say, that was part of the conversion kit. So now if I was to go into the motorhome and put the brakes on the car would automatically engage too, so that the car is not pushing the motorhome along. So that's about it. We're all hitched up and ready to go. Sue's just putting the bag in the boot and we'll put the sign on the back window to say that the car is actually on tow, and that's all we need to do. So we'll see you at Burrs Country Park, our next stop.